This is American Thought Leaders, and I'm Yanya Kielik. Right now I'm sitting down with Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Ben Carson. Well, Secretary Carson, it's wonderful to have you here on American Thought Leaders.
Very good to talk to you again.
CPAC, I think you've been here before once or twice.
Multiple times, and it's a wonderful opportunity for people to get together and exchange ideas, talk about what's going on. And I think it's particularly important right now at this juncture in our history, because right now we're not talking about Republican ideals or Democrat ideals. We're talking about the foundation of this country, the principles upon which it was built, and another system, socialism.
You know, I was really moved actually when President spoke about this very specific issue at the State of the Union. I don't recall it being talked about in such unequivocal terms, which is something I personally wholeheartedly agree with. What do you think motivated him to speak about this at this time?
Well, I think he is, first of all, very observant. I talk to him frequently, and he understands what is happening to our country. And you must remember that about 25 or 30 years ago, he was doing an interview with Oprah Winfrey, and she said, "Donald, would you ever run for president of the United States?" And he said, no, I really wouldn't want to do that unless I thought the country was about to go off the cliff. That's the only circumstance. And I think that truly is the reason that he did it. He didn't need any of this, but he was really afraid of what was happening. And it is happening at a very rapid rate, where you see large numbers of people in the political class moving to a system and toward a system that makes no sense, talking about things that will cost, $90 trillion, and saying, well, it's not really debt, it's an investment. That's the kind of thing that we heard from places like Venezuela, before they had the hyperinflation and things like that. We've got plenty of examples around the world of people who've gone this route and they never seem to end up very well. So why not say we have a system here that has elevated more people out of poverty than any other system, provided more freedom than any other system. Does it have flaws? Have there been people in it with flaws? Absolutely. But we look at those flaws and we try to correct them. We don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
I'm actually kind of astounded sometimes when, actually someone, I comment a lot on China issues, for example, and someone was recently kind of commenting that, well, how can you talk about China when we have all these problems here? But it's just we're talking about completely different orders of magnitude.
Exactly, and we have made mistakes. There's no question about that. But we have the ability to correct those generally without warfare. And that's one of the very nice things about our system. Now, the news media plays a large role. And it's the reason that the press is the only business entity that is protected by our Constitution. Because they're supposed to be honest brokers, and they're supposed to disseminate information objectively to the populace, so that the populace will have a basis upon which to decide what their will is, which is what the country is supposed to conform to. But when the media decides, no, we're going to be very partisan and we're going to have an agenda, then it really distorts the system that was intended, and you wind up to a large degree with the kind of unnecessary animosity and conflict that we see today.
In one sentence, because I know we have to wrap here in a moment, what are your biggest hopes for CPAC?
Well, I'm hopeful that people will be able to disseminate appropriate information upon which people can make good decisions. And
working hard on that.
And I also hope that people recognize that, somebody has to be the adult in the room. Everybody can't be the third grader. No, my apologies, the third graders. But, you know, we, I think, in the conservative movement cannot just react to others and treat them the way that they've treated us. We need to show people that there is a better way to live.